Welcome and good evening to Adventures in DeFi Kingdoms. This is Raph streaming to you live high above the keep in the hot air balloon. Tonight, as always, I have Neindorf with me. Neindorf, how you doing?
Doing very well. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. Ready to get back in the saddle again. I've missed podcasting a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of one of those things where we have a really good rhythm going, and when they space out a little bit, it's like, where'd that go?
Right. So, very special episode tonight. This is episode 70, and we're also going to use this as our example episode for getting our content posted into the artist as an NPC in DeFi Kingdoms. And so, let's go through a brief introduction here. Maybe don't spend any more than 2 minutes on it, but for new listeners out there, just finding out about the podcast. Who are you? When did you get into the game? And what are we doing now?
Yeah. So I guess I'm a software engineer by trade, and so kind of got into that through the website part of it. That's kind of what I guess I want to say excited me about the data part. But as far as the game itself goes, I got to thank some random Reddit reader from suggesting this game for me way back in about August of last year. And so that was really cool. I was looking for a blockchain game because I'm kind of a blockchain enthusiast, and then I was looking into one of them. I don't remember, it was an Ethereum game. He's like, no. I was like, don't do that. He's like, try DFK, and I was like, oh. And man, I tell you what, it's been a whirlwind since then. But I think that's how I got into this. But then, you and as I have, I'll let you talk to it, but I kind of pulled you in eventually. And then we're like, you know what, we could probably provide some tools. And so I kind of turned my skills to build the adfk.app site. And here we are.
Yeah, it's funny. You should, reach back out to that guy and say, thank you for helping me make um, moderate
Oh,
amounts of
yeah.
money before the downturn and before I got hacked. But anyways, thanks for
Yeah.
getting me in. All right, so my name is Raph, and Neindorf and I we met in college, and we were roommates. Well, we knew each other in high school, but we weren't really friends at that point in time. So, yeah, we met in high school, became really good friends and roommates in college. Um, I'm an industrial engineer by trade, and I like to joke around and say that, those who can do, those who can't manage. That's kind of me now, though. So I have kind of followed into the management path or track, and I do enjoy that as my part of the job. And so, yeah, we had our Gen 1s together last fall at a playground, and you were showing me the game and got absolutely hooked then and there. And back in those days, ramping into the game was like an all day process. I can't remember who was talking about this. I think it was actually the last Inner Grove podcast where they're like, it used to take like a day just to get yourself doxxed on an exchange for crypto, and then get your money transferred over to MetaMask, and then your Harmony one address wasn't the same as your other address, and so it was a total
Oh, man.
disaster getting in. But here we are. We went from sharing Gen Zeros to now we each have our own Gen Zeros. And, I'm really into playing the game right now, and really wanting to get geared up for the future of PvP. And so, we started the podcast because we were talking about 3-4 nights a week, and we thought, we're just kind of shooting the breeze with the conversations, and we thought let's go ahead and broadcast this. And I'm so thankful for the community that we have. That's one thing that's been a recurring theme for us, and all the things that we've gone through, the highs and the lows. Community has been the best part. We'll talk about this a little later in the episode, but guild hall section where really we're talking about a guild which is all community based right now. So that's a little bit about us. Why don't you take us to question of the day? Excuse me, the rut of not doing podcasts. It's also been a little applicable to the game itself as well. I have not been playing to the highest degree that I usually like to hold myself to. I'm not very organized with my materials or my heroes or my summoning strategies. Starting to turn that corner a little bit, refocusing on that this week. And, as such, I'm actually way behind on stones. And so I started trying to use those materials this last week to buy stand pots and stones. But outside of that, they are piling up in my inventory right now, and just getting itchy, I guess. How about you?
Well, I guess I'll say good thing we don't have a wallet restriction for how many tokens you can hold in the game. You have to go buy a bigger backpack.
Right, right. Well, maybe there will be when it comes to some of the travel restrictions.
Ooh, little bit of
Never
I
know.
like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Uh,
So I'm sitting. What's your favorite item that you're sitting on right now? I'm sitting on a few Greater Atonement crystals.
Nice. My favorite item right now is Swift Thistle because I have none.
Yeah,
Uh, so yeah, I'm trying to chase down a bunch of Swift Thistle just to kind of build some stand pots here. But I tell you what, I don't know. I probably got 15 or so foragers out there, which
yeah.
isn't all that many,
Got to go get them
and they're just
reactivated on Serendale. Yeah,
yeah, they're just struggling to bring back the Swift Thistle. So that's kind of another thing that got me looking at my market data here.
sure thing. All right. So with that, let's go ahead and transition into kind of the first topic of the night. And I led into this a little bit already, but just a general check-in. Um, One thing that I wanted to walk you through, we had a little bit of chance to talk about this pre-meeting, and I sent you some notes as well, but really thankful for some awesome community members out there. I've been working with Three Wolves, and he presented an opportunity to me. Well, actually, it kind of grew into an opportunity for both of us. He reached out to me, gosh, it was probably about 4 weeks ago now, and said, I'm really interested in one of the Gen Zeros that you have, number 526. And that was a pure knight, actually a dominant recessive 1 and recessive 2 knight Gen 0, a rare. And he said, that actually it matches really well with the hero for another guy that I'm trying to trade into heroes. And I'm like, wait, let me get this straight. So he was trying to acquire a pirate for his monk pirate pair, and that guy had the hero that he wanted for his pair, and he would only give up that hero if Three Wolves went on an in real life quest to go find him a substitute hero. Um, and
That's
so,
awesome.
yeah, and he's like, so here I am, and lo and behold, most of the names were dead ends. And he goes, there's so many dead heroes out there. And I didn't realize that. I hadn't really dug into that. And he's like, I was so excited when I saw your name. I knew I could reach out to you. And I was like, well, I might bring you a little disappointment as well, because originally he was just looking to buy that hero off of me. And I said, well, I will let go of my hero if your quest continues.
Uh,
And so I felt like this was like classic RPG to the fullest form, where it's like you have to go get a key, and then you have to go figure out, okay, now you actually have to forge that key, and so you have to go craft the materials. And so it was fantastic, and Three Wolves loved it. And anyway, so the trail kind of went cold, as quests sometimes do. And he reached out to me today and say, hey, I got some good news, got some bad news. Good news, I don't need, or he's like, bad news for you. I don't need that hero anymore. We ended up making the deal work. Good news for you, I kept looking, and I found someone who was willing to trade. And so
oh wow.
I was working with Shadowrunner. He put me in direct contact with. And so I traded Shadowrunner Hero 526, and I have this up on screen here for those of you watching on YouTube. And so Shadowrunner already has 1944, and my Hero 526 is a match on the dominant and on the subclass, or excuse me, on the main class and on the subclass. They are both DR1s, and so there's warrior. Actually, mine is knight. And then there's a monk pirate, so it has a chance to turn into a paladin ninja. And then there is an active 1 match as well. And so, as the Mythic Squad guys say, mustard hunting, 3 mustard signs on a Gen 0, which is fantastic. And if you think that's good, I got the better end of the deal too. And so my hero is 312, and I ended up trading for 1210. And not only are they also both pure Gen Zeros, Warrior and Knight, but I feel like I have the better end of the deal. And I guess maybe I'll ask you and some of our YouTube listeners out there. And so I have my primary class matching for a Paladin factory here. So Warrior, Warrior, and Knight, Knight. And I have two abilities that pair up. And so active 2, those match up, and then passive 2, those also match up. So I guess I'll ask you, what do you think is better, having that subclass that ends up with a chance of an advanced subclass, or having another chance at an ability?
So I really do like the subclass. I think we don't know enough about it yet to know, but I think one of the things that we constantly see in this community is people are chasing what's that little bit of edge I could get. And so possibly having an advanced subclass as well, maybe the skill trees line up in such a way that that actually ends up being huge. So I think I like that. I just think it's a little early to, say that that's, the only card that matters, obviously. But and then the ability matches are fantastic. So with that way you can't really go wrong.
Yeah, so I feel like I don't know. It's hard to say. I think we'll see where things shake out. And I don't put a lot of stock into professions as much as I used to either. And so, okay, funny comment here on YouTube. Sergeant Filthy McNasty is correcting me that the original trade was going to be a 5-way trade that Three Wolves was trying to organize, which just
Oh,
sounds
wow.
insane. It's hard enough to get 2 parties or 3 parties to get all on the same page, but 5 parties, that's insane. So, I mean, gold medal to Three Wolves and Shadowrunner. Trying to recruit Shadowrunner, but I'll maybe lay out the formal recruitment pitch to him in our guild chat section. So outside of that, I've been really going degen with summoning. As I mentioned earlier, very unorganized approach at the moment. Just kind of throwing things together, throwing it at the wall, seeing what sticks. Doing a lot of my summoning over on Serendale right now to try to go after those raffle tickets. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see how that pans out. When it dropped down from 40 cents to 20 cents, I definitely started summoning a lot more. But now it's kind of went down to 19. Now it's what's up to like 23.
Yeah, 23, 24, I believe.
24,
Yep.
yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it has me feeling a little nervous again, but I still gonna summon. Feeling like a major degen, but having fun doing it. Haven't really hit anything that is like super noteworthy. Hit one pure Archer Gen 1 10 out of 10 summons with 2 advanced abilities.
Oh,
That was
nice.
probably in a rare. That was probably the best I had. I have not found anything on the market that comes close to matching either one of those advances. So I'll hold on to him for a while and go mustard hunting eventually.
Yeah. I've had some decent luck. I got pretty early. I got a rare bard with an advanced, so I think that was pretty cool. And then I was able to. I was talking with, I believe it was Mosh. I think I bought it from him. It was a shapeshifter that matched with it pretty well. So I've got a pair. I want to get them both to level 5, I think, but I got a pair set up there for future summonings nights. Uh, and then after that, I think I got some sort of Steve the Pirate. But then the third
Total
one was
rogue.
another good one. It was a legendary Legionnaire with, so 10 of 10, all basics, but you're always happy with a legendary.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you're making money on those, and if you want to keep them, they'll be a strong hero for you in the future. If you want to spin them off, they're covering your summons costs for quite a few
Yep.
summons to come. So yeah, always happy with the leggy.
Yeah, I've been listing it somewhat high just because, I'm on the fence a little, but it'll probably lower over time because otherwise I'm just going to accumulate way too many heroes.
Yeah, so I've been using just to summon summon hero matching over on our website. So for those of you, again, this video that we're doing. We're gonna have this go live in the tavern, or excuse me, with the artist NPC, and so we're doing a little bit of intro speak here. We do offer a subscription to ADFK, and so a lot of our content is free, and we do have some content behind a paywall. So behind the paywall, we put I would call them efficiency solutions to help make your quality of life and your quality of summoning faster and easier to perform on a regular basis. And so hero matching is one of those. And we also have advanced market data, and we also have hero alerts, tavern alerts that are behind the paywall. And our goal with the site in general is we're seeking what I like to call democratization of the data. And so a lot of this data, and actually I saw a note today that said eventually the passives are going to be on the card themselves, and that might show up here in the near future. But, we originally created this site to be a solution for our own summoning needs, and then we realized, gosh, we need to share this with other people. And so we want all of the games, what we would consider to be base genetic data, to be available to everyone. And so that's the hero data page. That's available at all times, and that's free of cost. And then if you want to get really efficient with that, you can use the hero matching tool. You punch in your hero number. You can put in a whole bunch of more criteria on what you want to search for. And so I used this when I tried to, like you said, when you were looking for a hero to match with that shapeshifter, you found Mosh. Like, this is how you did that.
Yep, that's right.
And so this is a great tool to help save you some time. You could, if you had, spreadsheets and spreadsheets of data, pour through it and try to find that perfect match. That you can do on your own. But this is a tool that we want to provide to you that helps support our development costs. So big thanks to all of our supporters out there. We have some amazing subscribers that are just, heroes for life. So really appreciate what they do. So that is the Adventures in DeFi Kingdoms app. And we're constantly developing, and I say we loosely. Neindorf is the sole developer here, in case anyone hasn't picked up on that yet. So, Neindorf, you've been in the lab. What are you working on for the dev dive?
Yeah, so I think, we as also people who like to play the DFK Fight Club game, we're also working more and more on our tournament organization system for that. And then I think what we've kind of talked about recently here is we're going to try to open that up and actually make it so that we can support duels tournaments. We're shooting for a fully automated duels tournament, so that's a really cool feature that I hope to be working on over here over the holiday break. And then I guess the only other thing I have is, well, there's a lot of things, don't get me wrong, but I've had a lot of people asking for multi-wallet support. It's something I really want to get to soon. I also kind of could use that feature. It's just kind of tricky because the entire site's sort of built around your wallet. So I kind of got to retool a whole bunch of things. So I think those are the two biggest ones right now.
That's awesome. And that really segues us nicely into the next section. So we set up a conversation with the Kingdom Studios team. We try to do this on a regular basis. And because we are developers in the game, they are very courteous in allowing us time and audience to talk about what we're working on and to help us strategize and brainstorm, help us kind of peek behind the curtain a little bit and see what they're working on. We want to constantly make sure that we're going down the right path, going down the right lane. Anything that you build doesn't get shut down by the main game or rendered irrelevant. And so we had a fantastic call this last week with Zipper and Sunbear. Do you want to kind of go into the start of the call, or maybe the feels or the vibes coming out of the call?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, it was kind of one of those where we hadn't caught up with them for a while. So it was just kind of, like you said, retuning ourselves, making sure that we are in our lane, if you will, and kind of updating them with where we're at. And then I think that's kind of what led us to this podcast here tonight, where we want to try to create this episode where we can, kind of show to people, here's what we're here for. Here's why we do this. So that was I think that was kind of where we started.
Yeah. And, we went a few different directions with this, and I feel like we have some I wouldn't call it like alpha because I think the team has done a good job of segmenting themselves, and so the things that like Sun Bear and Zipper, both brilliant guys, but they're not working on like the release date timing of when the next patch is coming out. So anything that we say in that regards is not a reflection of them or us. It's still like just speculation. Also, they're not building with PvP and Wisdom Labs, and so I think that, and I think that's okay. I think that's actually really healthy and a sign of a mature organization that they've started to specialize in what they're working on. The thing that they are doing, which I find to be incredibly helpful, is asking how they can better serve us as developers. And so one of the things we talked about was, how do we better prep for launch day and having some of those common resources available. And I guess, do you want to talk to this from the standpoint of a developer and what you hope might be a game for future developers out there too?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we chatted quite a bit about was, how do we get data ahead of time a little bit in the sense that, we as a website provider can kind of have stuff out there so that when feature X launches, there's immediately secondary support for it. And you can go, kind of dig in and not kind of have to, pour over Discord and wait for people to post those random like little cheat codes, if you will. So we talked about that quite a bit. And a suggestion that I had was, and it kind of stemmed from some other things that we're working on, but basically that it was if there's a way that any of their data could be wrapped behind like a resource or a URL, and then we could code our site to just go ask that URL for data. And so then a good example would be like classes, right? Like when they launched these new classes, we knew that there was going to be a scholar and a legionnaire, but we did not know that the bard was going to be out there yet. And so, what it could have been is the site, when we asked their API for what's this hero going to be, it could have just said unknown class,
Secret
and then
value
they could,
one.
yeah, right, exactly. And then at the very last moment, once someone finds it and they announce it, like, hey, look, everybody, I found it's a bard, they could real quick just go enable bard on their end. And then all the developer tools out there could just all of a sudden, the next time someone refreshes it and it says, oh, now I got a bard, it's like, awesome. So we kind of tried to work out, some of these ideas where it could come kind of be more seamless and almost require no changes from third-party devs.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a pie in the sky idea, but I thought it was a really cool way that, maybe they could then still control their important data, but also kind of provide it to us like immediately.
Yeah, I love that. And it finds a balance between, not giving people, secret early access that would impact
Right.
like investment timing and things like that, and still allowing third parties to thrive under their currently amazingly fast release schedule. So I feel like I hope it's a balance of both worlds. And speaking of more, pie in the sky style ideas, I really love the conversation that we had around Sejul and about how there could be the opportunity to delegate, your Sejul staking towards other entities like a guild, potentially even the ideas of third parties out there. Or for sure what's built into the current code of the game is delegating your Sejul to other wallets that you might have. And so at the very least, they're starting to think about how can this power up mechanism for staking your jewel, how can it be distributed in a very healthy way that helps, whether it's third parties potentially gain rewards. And so that was actually something that we brainstormed on that call was, what if our subscription could be Sejul based? And it instead of people subscribing and paying us Jewel directly, we just take proceeds of that Sejul that they get from staking in the gardens. A way to kind of keep things in game and in the economy. Anything else you want to talk about there?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. That was a really cool kind of revelation we had, and it was you could kind of see those guys like looking up and down, like, "Oh yeah, we could do that." And it's from our site's perspective, right now we're just watching, blockchain transactions for Jewel, Crystal, or Jade transfers. But there's not a lot of difference in watching a delegation of C Jewel or S Jewel. So I think it's a really good idea, and I would love to see kind of, maybe in a few weeks from now when they've had a chance to stew it over and talk with it over their committees, maybe we can have another meeting with them and see if there's made any traction. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. So the feature that you're working on that we spent a lot of time talking about as well was the tournament organization, and I just want to touch on that again. That I was really excited from their excitement that they believe that a feature like this could be, really rallied around in the community, and that there isn't a lane being carved out for tournament development right now for duels. And our goals are what we're hoping to do is be the premier tournament organization site, just like we hope we're your premier data and an analysis site. So for hero matching. And so what we're hoping to do is take, as what Neindorf was describing in Dev Dive, what's currently a Fight Club tournament tracker, and start to transform that into a duels tracker, and then eventually pave the way for that to be a tournament tracker once the full PvP game launches. And they loved that idea. They were kind of over the moon. And then so give me your commentary on that, and then you asked. I don't know if you'll remember what it was, but you asked for one specific thing, that if we build this, they have to commit to one thing, and I can't wait for you to share that.
Oh man. Now I can't even remember. You're right. It was
A secret tournament.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
I do remember now. It was basically, yeah, if we're able to get this duels tournament launched, and I have said that they need to have a DFK team only tournament so they can beat each other up and kind of let the rest of us just be spectators and just absolutely have fun with it.
Yeah.
Uh,
And they
I think
totally committed
it's
to it.
yeah, they did. Yeah, they said that we could absolutely do that. And I think with what they're doing now with the seasons for duels is really cool, and it's pretty clear to me that with every season they're improving and crafting a new, slight nuance addition where it makes it, I think, better in the long run. So I'm really excited for how they're iteratively using seasons to improve their product. And I kind of suspect you'll see the exact same thing with actual PvP when it launches. You can be guaranteed, this team is smart. Every lesson they're learning, they're going to apply to all facets of the game. So just keep that in mind.
Right, and it seems like from what we've seen from the AMAs with Ian Workhorse from Wisdom Gaming, they're really open, and Hubert as well, really understanding that a game has to be fine-tuned periodically. And so I would expect that also to carry balance updates on that season cadence, like every 8 weeks. And I think that'll keep the game really fresh, where a hero or a class that's not seeing a lot of play, you could see their abilities buffed inside the next season. And it also carves out some space for a tournament as well. And that's one thing that you had that idea of, which is, season ends and there's a gap between season 1 and season 2. What can we do? Well, we can have tournaments inside that time frame. So really excited about that as a possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's something about a tournament where people can rally behind it and you just watch the matches and just all the memes and the discussion and then the strategy that goes on is what builds that healthy game. And I think that's exactly what we need here. I mean, this community is already great. Now they just need to have this outlet for all that passion.
Yeah, I hear you there. So that takes us into kind of one of our last topics with the devs, which is we're planning an in real life raid on Wisdom Gaming. We've kind of cleared it with the Wisdom Gaming team, not kind of, fully cleared it with the Wisdom Gaming team. They said, yeah, come out and visit. We haven't really told them how we're visiting. They've given us a general time frame of when they're visiting. And this is something that the team was really excited to hear us talk about. They're hoping to put us in put us in touch with Pieface. I know the team out in San Diego, I think like Christian Peters and Sergeant Filthy McNasty, they had some bloaters actually go out to those guys, and they gave them away at the meetup that they had. And so we're planning on doing Midwest meetup. We've been pitching this for a long time. So hit me up, send me a DM if you're interested in going. Minneapolis, end of January, early February, perfect time to visit the Great White North of Minnesota. So yeah, come check it out, and hopefully we can get some merch hooked up for you guys that make the trip. All right, so let's move on to our guild hall section, which is just a check-in on how's the guild doing, what we're planning on doing, and we'll transition really quickly into our summons night. So we have some t-shirts. One of our high council members, Kells, he ordered t-shirts for DC Miami, and we have 5 extra t-shirts. So Neindorf, what should we do with these ADFK t-shirts that we have?
Ooh, we don't want to set the bar too high, but you also can't have it too low. So that's a hard one. I think we need to see. I'd like to see some sort of participation. Something like maybe if we get someone, you're entered in if you are in the next 2 summons nights in a row or something. You know what I mean? Something fun like that, where it's like, hey, I'm around. We're all having fun together. I think those are the sorts of people that I'd love to give stuff away to.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And as a guild, and we're starting to try to build that inventory that you were talking about earlier. Another idea I had is, if people are going through summons for Serendale and they are just getting, like, the floor has dropped significantly. There is a very low bottom right now. If you want to give away some of these, I'll call them, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So if you want to get rid of some of these heroes and let us take them off your hands, we can quest them on behalf of the guild. We can put them into the guild wallet, and they can live away their happy life hanging out with the rest of our guild farmers out there. So what do you think about that idea too?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. It's one of those things, like, that's a good way, sending floor heroes is a good way that it's a really low cost option, and it can allow us as a guild to kind of start trickling in some sort of, wallet or some finance in order to provide cool things back to our community. It's, unless you have some sort of income stream, it's hard to do these giveaways and all of that. So I think that's actually a pretty good idea. And, I think it's also important to remember that it's not purely about giveaways too, because at some point when we actually do have real in-game guild activities, I got to imagine it is going to take a treasury, and it's going to take some sort of
Have
income
to finance a quest. Yeah, like,
correct. Yes.
let's go
So
raid these heroes, or go beat up on this guild. Having that event, I'm sure, is going to cost, whether it's staking Sejul or items, bringing items. I think you're totally right. So right now that kind of leads me into the format change for Summons Night. We executed on this format change last Wednesday. Thought it was really successful, and we're starting to build towards wanting to build up a guild inventory to support buying crystals. Right now, with all of the guild heroes that we've had questing, it's a bit of a defeating number, but we're around 400 crystal earn. Right?
yeah, we're getting there. And again,
For the guild.
we're only taking a pretty small fraction of the earnings of heroes that people have staked. So it's not much. And that's kind of where I think your point about, hey, if you have a floor hero you want to donate, that would be amazing, because then it's 100% of that hero's output can go help build for these giveaways and for this treasury. So like you said, it's another option, and everybody keep that in mind out there. If you got a hero that just doesn't seem to fit, or you got that 7th Fisher, right? You don't want
Right.
to have that second quest run.
Exactly. So yeah, we would very much appreciate that. And getting back to Summons Night right now, coming out of our own pocket, we are doing a regular sized stone every Summons Night. And so what we're doing is we have this, and this isn't in the show notes here today on YouTube, a ADFK summons night every Wednesday night around 9 p.m. Central Time. We are going to do a summons night. It's a lot of fun. So what is it? It is all of us jumping onto Discord, having fun, and starting a hype train. Very first summons night, Neindorf, you set a bit of a high bar that we haven't achieved that one yet. You summoned a Dread Knight with an elite ability. So,
that was absolutely insane. It was, it was basically 2 home runs in one.
Right, yeah, for sure. So go ahead and throw your name up on this Summons Night shared Google document. And I did this in a way where you're not having to submit a form, so none of the Google Docs doxing stuff that worries people at times. So everyone has right access to this, so go ahead, put your Discord username and a hyperlink to the Adventures in DeFi Kingdoms app of the hero match that you're going for that night. So what I'm going to do is all of the entries that come in before Wednesday night, I'm going to put them into a drawing. And first thing on Wednesday night, I'm going to give away a regular sized fortune stone. So hopefully that's something that you could find valuable that exact summons night for you. And we're going to commit to continuing to give away a regular sized stone, at least for the next few weeks, as we continue to try to get this off the ground and have a lot of fun with it. All right. Well, Neindorf, anything else?
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right.
I think I must have hit the mute button there.
Well, anything else that you had as closing comments for tonight?
I think I basically just like to close and say, this all the things that we're trying to do here with the guild, trying to build out, trying to do summons night, it kind of is like you said in the intro or early on. We're just kind of just trying to have this community. It's what keeps us here. It's what's helped us. It's what hopefully we can provide help to them as well. I think that's just the number one game here is let's just have fun playing this game with our community.
I totally agree. And all right, jumping onto YouTube to check up on some comments here. Zelf is saying that Ben Friend, and I dropped off after about 30 minutes of Summons Night last time, hit a Dread Knight. Am I reading that right? So we had another Dread Knight hit again?
Nice.
That is epic.
That's what we like to see right there.
Yeah, and Dover chiming in, haven't contributed anything, just being a lurker. Like, don't worry, man. Like, that's totally fine. Like,
you'll find your time to shine. Don't you worry. There'll be a time.
And part of what we want Summons Night to be is not just like having fun with the community, but also being like an educational experience. And so that's why we want people to post their matches and their pairs ahead of time. It's like, what are you going for? Why are you going for that? And we can start to learn what those useful strategies are. And I mean, I'll be the first to say we have some smart team members out in our guild and in our community out there. So I can't wait to, learn from those people night in and night out. And ultimately, like, the ideas that people have in Summons Night will eventually become the meta that you see in the PvP of the game. And so I guess that's kind of my closing night is everything that we're working on as a developer and as a guild is how do we build a strong community that ends up becoming a game that's well supported and positioned to be successful in the future. All right, well, I think I lost you on mute again here, Neindorf. But for Neindorf, this has been Raph, and I'm actually going to jump over and do a few summons tonight. So check the show notes, and if you want to join us over in the ADFK Discord, please do. We'd love to hear from you. And for those of you who are new out there, welcome to the ADFK family. Have a good night.